Can you give us a little insight into Doma's mission?
Sure. Doma's mission is to enhance the theater experience beyond expectations. And how we do that is we look to really take the audience outside of the everyday world and transform them into the world of the production we're doing. We do not believe the show starts when the curtain goes up. We actually believe that the curtain goes up the second they pull into our parking lot. It's every second of their experience here when they pull into the parking lot, when they come into the front of house lobby area, has to add to that theatrical experience. And at Doma, we really strive to do that. And really make every piece of that experience, whether out in the lobby, out in the parking lot, in the theater, during the show, after the show, as part of that production as we can. And then really, for the audience's perspective, so they feel valued and appreciated as patrons. It's very important to us. Our front of house have gotten many accolades over the way we handle and facilitate our patrons. I'm very proud to say that, and it's a big mission at Doma, is that our patrons come here and then leave feeling as though they've had their breath taken away.
What do you feel has been your most successful to date show in terms of bringing in the layperson?
I would say Tommy, probably, and the reason why I say Tommy is because Tommy, it's the Who's opera, it's the Who's rock opera. It was a concept album in the late 60s. And I found that with sales for Tommy were actually quite easy because everyone knows the Who, and everyone knows the rock opera Tommy. And so I think a lot of people didn't even necessarily need to see Tommy the musical, or Tommy the play, or Tommy live on stage. They just saw Tommy, and that name recognition is really what brought masses of people to us very quickly.
Do you have a favorite anecdote from someone who maybe hasn't experienced a lot of live theater that you got to hear?
I do, actually. When I was touring in professional, and I was touring with the Children's Theater, and we would go, we would, tour across the United States. It was with like an educational show, and we would go to these small towns. I remember this one town called Tipton, Iowa, middle of nowhere. People were one of the most wonderful, gracious people. But we always did a question and answer session after the show with the school children. And so we had the eight of us were on stage, and the eight members of us and the cast were on stage, and the children were sitting there, and the looks on their faces, they were so awe-inspired. And so much of the feedback I got was, we had never seen anything like this before. And some of the questions that warmed my heart was, how do I become an actor if I want to do a show, or I really want to help you guys on stage. How do I go about doing that? And hearing those stories from people whose first show was what was just presented to them, to hear those questions and to be able to provide that information was so meaningful to me. So meaningful, and really made me realize that is why I love doing theater. It's for those people who don't have that access, who don't have that continual access the way other people do.